The Couture 303 podcast is now officially sponsored by Dapper Turkish Barbers in Hunts Cross. You can find them on Wood End Avenue and they do the full service there. The hair, the beard, the ears, the nose, the cutthroat, hot towels, the lot. It's the only barbers I ever go to. Fantastic service, great lads. No need to book, just pop in and see them 7 days a week. If you want a nice sick fade like mine, you will not be disappointed. The absolute best in the area. That's Dapper Turkish Barbers, Wood End Avenue, Hunts Cross. And now back to the show.
Oi, oi, Vibes here.
I'm DJ Slipmatt.
This is Paul Louise.
My name's Robbie Edwards.
My name's MC Hurricane.
I'm DJ Revels.
I'm John Edge. MC Wheels.
Reggie Sarah.
Stevie Wonder. Hi, this is Bob K.
I'm Les Calvert.
I'm DJ CDT.
Yes, this is a JFMC. You're listening to the Couture 303 podcast with J Viper, baby.
Welcome back, everyone, to a very, very special episode of the Couture 303 podcast with me, J Viper. And my guest today is none other than the Godfather of rave himself, the Don, the number one, the Mac Daddy, the one and only DJ Slipmatt. Here he is.
How you doing?
You might want to put that camera back now to get your head in. How are you, Matt? You okay?
Yeah, absolutely fine as it goes.
Yeah, thank you very much for doing this. I really appreciate it. So for those who don't know how this one came about, I was added to a WhatsApp group when I was playing in the Legends Arena at Reminisce Festival. And in the WhatsApp group was a number of people. And one of them was DJ Slipmatt. Obviously, we don't know each other. He doesn't know me from Adam. I'm just some cheeky fucking scouser who's popped up on his phone and asked him to do a podcast. So I really, really appreciate this, Matt. Thank you very much.
Do you know what?
I do with all my guests.
I do agree, though, the WhatsApp number thing in the groups. It's really, really handy for getting people's numbers.
That's how I got yours, mate.
I'm guilty myself.
Yeah. So thank you very much for doing this. And that's how this ended up, guys. So as I do with all my guests, Matt, right back to the very start. So where and when were you born, mate?
Where and when?
Yeah.
1967, believe it or not. You wouldn't think it, I know. April 1967 in town in Essex called Loughton, which is sort of on the East London Essex border. So my mum and dad and all their family had a huge family. My dad's side was huge. They were all born and brought up in Walthamstow, which was, I think, actually years ago. In the old days, it was actually Essex, but it turned into East London as time went on.
Yeah.
Sort of
for people like us up north, it's Essex. It's all Essex.
Yeah, East London, Essex. Yeah.
You're all EastEnders.
We'll sound the same anyway.
Yeah. So what was school like for the young Matt then?
I hated school, actually. Didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. Say hated it. Hate's a strong word, but I was never really keen on school.
What was it you didn't like about it? Was it the authority side of it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Just I don't know. I can just remember being a kid, just not wanting to go. You know, it wasn't like devastating, but just in general, I wasn't a fan of school. Some kids loved it, didn't they? I want to get back to school to see my mates. But I had a really good circle of mates, sort of where I lived. You know, we're that typical thing. Sort of in the 70s, we'd all be out, fucking going around the town, of course. Getting up to all sorts.
Getting up to no good.
Summer and all that. Yeah, I was like the typical sort of 70s, 80s sort of kid growing up.
So what was home life like? Have you got, obviously, I know you've got a big family because I know you spoke on another podcast. You've got something like 36, 37 cousins and nephews and stuff like that?
It's more than that, yeah. My dad, I was chatting with him the other day, actually. My dad was one of, so including his mum and dad, there was 16 of them originally.
Jesus Christ.
I know. One died very young, and there was a twin that died as well. So there was actually 14 kids. And then, so 14 kids and mum and dad. So it would have been 18.
My goodness.
And they were in the newspaper. I've got the newspaper clipping somewhere. I think it's 1949. They were the biggest family in Walthamstow.
Yeah.
They actually made it into the paper, and there's a little write-up.
Wow. Like that's a little notch on the bedpost. So what's your musical background then? So obviously a lot of people when they turn out to be DJs or producers or are in a band, more often than not, it's come from within the family. They've been exposed to music at an early age from their parents or their older brothers. So what was your story?
Only from my mum and dad having a fair size sort of record collection. But back in the days, nothing like sort of mine or whatever. But they were, they were into music. There was always music on. and they had it's all sort of 60 rock and roll and 60s stuff. When
Yeah.
you know, when I was really tiny. But that's it really. There's no other musicians in the family.
So one of my biggest fans who watches and listens to all my podcasts is my mum. So she's going to be very happy now when I say this. You're a big Elvis fan, wasn't you?
I was when I was very young, yeah.
Yeah.
Elvis, and then the Beatles as well. But I mean, a lot of that was probably because my mum and dad had all the early Beatles 7-inch records there from 62 to 64. And so I was actually very, very young playing records myself. It was a bit strange in that way. So anything I could find, I'd want to put it on a record player. So I was just, I grew up listening to that stuff. I still enjoy listening to things like the Beatles and stuff.
Yeah. Did you see the Elvis movie, by the way?
What, a recent one?
About a year or two ago.
Probably not. I don't know.
Fantastic. It's a documentary type film. And I knew I'd enjoy it because obviously, like yourself, grew up listening to Elvis because my mum and stuff. Yeah. And I knew I'd enjoy it. I didn't think I'd enjoy it as much as I did. It's a really, really good film. It's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, he's a very interesting life, didn't he?
Yeah, it's a bit tainted. It's a bit kind of one-sided. Obviously, they gloss over like the drug side of things and stuff like that. But for what it is, it was a really interesting film. I really enjoyed it. So, when did you start discovering like the dance music side of things? Because obviously, there's a couple of avenues here. Because obviously, there's Slipmatt the DJ, there's Slipmatt the producer. There's almost fucking Slipmatt the pop star from Top of the Pops, And I know you're actually into the DMC, so we'll just go back to the start.
It's all intertwined.
Yeah, it's all going to mesh together. I love it when a plan comes together.
So it was never a plan. That's one thing though. For me, it was never a plan. That's like one of the big sort of key points. Yeah. It wasn't actually planned, which is quite cool. But no, I think. My dad, I don't know. I was just fascinated with, I think because I started playing records at such a young age. And then we used, in the 70s, we used to have family parties as we did back then. The neighbours would come in at Christmas or whatever. I mean, they'd have a bit of a knees up. I was always, right, records, where's the records? Me, I'm going to, I was always the DJ, even if it was just one deck. And then my dad, he used to work at ship stores up in East London, up in Limehouse. And they had a few. They used to get bits of stereo equipment and stuff going through to put on the ships, like real posh stuff. So like Tandberg from Norway and this, that, and the other. So we ended up with this really snazzy hi-fi from about 1971 onwards. I think it was really, really early doors for that sort of kit. And he basically got given it from work, or that something might have been a bit damaged, and he'd get it for like a third of the price. So we had a really good stereo set up, really fucking loud as well, 4 speakers, and it was like amazing for for that day, for those days. And I managed to wire up. We had a reel-to-reel. It was a Bang & Olufsen reel-to-reel, and it had sliders on it, a bit like a mixer, like a DJ mixer. And I managed to. And my dad had bought another record deck, and I managed to wire up 2 record decks into this Bang & Olufsen reel-to-reel and use the sliders as the volume for each deck. So it's almost like having 2 decks.
Yeah.
And and so so that's sort of, I was inspired by that, and then being able to sort of mix stuff together. I was mixing tracks together on the reel-to-reel, and then sort of editing just with a pause button. I ended up getting like a tape splicing thing in the end. I think when I was sort of
these kids these days don't understand the struggle, do they?
Nah. It's just like, oh, what? Yeah, on a computer, boom, that's it. But and then that sort of chopping up music and stuff made me just made me want to sort of put my own stuff together at a very, very early age. So I was like banging things and recording it, and I had a really old guitar, and I remember playing that. I've still got a recording actually somewhere. It's just totally out of tune. Everything it's in time, but everything's totally out of tune with each other. So it was a bit of everything, bit of DJ, a bit of real curiosity with wanting to make stuff, to make music and make. It's
almost
sound.
I mean, what you're doing there with the splicing the tape, it's like rudimentary production, really, isn't it? It's the very fundamentals of actually producing a track.
Exactly. I mean, I had microphones for this reel to reel as well, and I was sort of putting sounds in, drum sounds and and different stuff over the top. This reel to reel, it was like a 4-track, so you could do 4 tracks and listen to the other track while you're recording the next one. It was
So when did it start to progress? So how old were you at this point?
I reckon probably 10 or 11.
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah, I reckon.
And did you foresee it being something you would do in the future, like as a living or a hobby at least?
No. That's the thing. It was just a hobby. I did my first school disco at, I think I was 10, at the end of junior school, and I took a record deck, just one deck, and a big pile of records, and we plugged into my classroom had like a 1-speaker sort of amplifier, built-in amplifier thing. I plugged it in that and played the music for a Christmas party.
Yeah.
And then just any opportunity I had, I'd be out there playing the music or DJing. My brother-in-law's brother-in-law was a mobile DJ, and I managed to worm my way into getting a couple of trips out with him to do like weddings or parties or whatever.
Yeah. And it was, I suppose at that point, there was no idea of having like a name. DJs didn't have names, did they, back then? No. But you managed somehow to secure one of the most prestigious names in the whole industry of fucking Slipmatt.
I was DJ Nelson to start with.
Yeah.
DJ Nelson, master of the mix. I found
it's like Vibes with Navigator.
I found an old business card ages ago. Yeah, DJ Nelson, master of the mix. Soul, disco, and something or other.
So you met for those who don't know, SL2 was probably your first break into the public eye, and you got onto was it 3 chart entries or 4? 3 chart entries. Yes, Way in the Brain, On a Ragga Tip. The first one, for the name escapes me. I'm sure you'll remember.
DJ's Take Control.
That's right. That was the first one. So that chart, and so what was the chart positions for? I'm going ahead of myself now. So you met.
We've jumped a long way. Yeah,
we've jumped a long way. So yeah, I'm getting a little bit giddy here. You see. So you're DJing at school parties and stuff like that. Where does it progress from there?
I was at school with Lime as well. So when I went to high school, we were in the same class. I think he joined in the second year or something. And then it sort of turned into me and him sort of gelled because he was into his music as well. He was really into the electro stuff through school, which would have been sort of end of the 70s. That sort of makes sense. Yeah. End of the 70s into the early 80s. I was actually into reggae as well. I was into the electro stuff. I was into a lot of soul music from sort of the end of junior school and sort of end of the 70s disco thing, and then soul, and then that moved into the sort of big 80s soul stuff. But I was into electro as well, but I was also into reggae in a big way. I used to listen to David Rodigan on Capital Radio in London every weekend, and I'd record it 2 hours. I think it's 2 hours, pretty sure it's a 2-hour show. I'd record it on cassette every weekend for a good few years. But me and John, yeah, we just sort of gelled at school. Music wise, we were the only 2 in the class really that were really into sort of the underground sort of dance music. And then it went from there. John started DJing as well at pubs and bits and pieces and stuff, and we were knocking around with each other. And in the end, we were like, hold on a minute, let's go to the studio.
Yeah, let's do something together.
Yeah. We had all these ideas, and we'd bought so then we went and bought a TR-505 drum machine. We ended up buying, was it a D? I can't even remember what it was now. Just quite a basic Roland keyboard, a D7 or something. And then trotted off 1989. We trotted off to a recording studio down in South London, and bang, got our first tune.
I mean, this isn't even the 90s yet. So for the, again, I don't think people understand and appreciate. To make a track now, all you need is a laptop, and everything's on that laptop. You're going back to like rooms and rooms full of equipment.
It's almost like Stone Age.
Yeah. So go on.
Yeah. So to do that, we programmed the whole. So it's an acid house track, our first ever track called "Do That Dance," and we sampled a big sort of acid riff off a track from 1987. This was like very early 89 as well. We did this. Might have even started it in 88. And we basically programmed all the drums into the whole drum sequence into this drum machine. And then I got bits of paper and coloured in lines for each different instrument, like hi-hat, closed hi-hat, snare drum, and all that, when they should come in and come out. Because we had to sit in the studio, and basically on the desk, you'd have the buttons for each channel, like the mute buttons, and we'd have it all muted, and you just bring in each track as it's going. So there's none of this computer stuff, like
no automation.
Nah, very little automation. Yeah.
So you basically invented the DAW. You invented Ableton.
There you go.
With their little pink bars and green bars and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So Do the Dance, how did that do?
It did all right, actually. I mean, it's our first attempt. We went in with, I don't know if you know Double Trouble. Do you remember Double Trouble?
Yeah.
They were with Rebel MC and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was their studio down in New Cross in South London called Noisegate Studio. And it was our first go. We went in, I suppose, a couple of times. Got it finished. And then they were involved with a label called, there's a few different names of the label. It's Desire Records, but we come out on a label called Beware. It was all run by this fella called Simon Goff, who was a bit of a sort of dance music publisher and whatever at the time. Played it to him, and he signed it straight away.
Yeah,
it was like, wow, this is like early 89. It was like, hold on a minute. So we've gone to the studio. We've done this. We've had a good bit of advice and help from the producers there and stuff. And we got signed, and I think we did about 3,500 copies. I think.
Wow.
Good for them days. Yeah,
back in the old vinyl days when you could actually earn music for making earn money for making music.
It was a proper release. We never got paid for it. Got ripped off.
Well, that's unfortunate. That's the story of the industry altogether, isn't it?
It's like, who cares at this stage? Who cares?
We're famous.
We actually got a really good one. Looking back, we actually got sponsored by Adidas as well.
Shut up.
Yeah. We made the local Gazette. 2 local lads have got this tune released and stuff. And Adidas, I say sponsored, but they sent us like a tracksuit each for trainers and a bit of clobber and stuff. And then we went and got our press photo done.
Oh, that's brilliant.
All in Adidas, yeah.
And we had SL2 at this point, yeah.
SL2,
yeah. So how did so that's your first release. How did you get to the point of getting onto top of the pops? It's quite a jump.
Well, I'll try and do it fairly quickly. So we did that. We then went back to that studio a couple of times. Then we found another studio for some reason. I can't remember why. And we're still good friends with Lee, who used to run Noisegate and stuff anyway. And Aston, who was working there, who's now Freestylers. He was like the apprentice engineer down there around that time. Yeah, mad, isn't it? And so we went to another studio. We tried a few things. We were trying some hip house stuff, which we liked at the time. Never really got a finished product. And then we come up with a track called The Noise, which was, I think we did that late 1990, come out in, I think it was January 91. But because we'd been ripped off and not paid for the other track, and there was a lot of white labels floating around by that time, it was starting to be like, oh, okay, yeah, you can put out your own tune on a white label. We managed to get a few connections, so we just put it out ourselves, and that's how Awesome Records started. Our own label. So that was I can't remember. I think it might have been SL. I think the catalog number. I think that was SL001. For our own label, yeah, which went on for quite a few years after that. And again, that did really well. We took it to distributors ourselves and ran the shops and all that. I think we did a good 3,000 or 4,000 on that as well.
And are you DJing at this point as well?
I was. So I started I always say my proper DJ career started on the 16th of September 1989, which was the first Rain Dance.
Wow.
Which was my brother's party.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I always say that's sort of the start of my proper start of my DJ journey. I was doing a few bits and pieces here and there.
So is this pre or is this before or after? Because you went to the DMC competition, didn't you? And you went up against a couple of lads. One's called DJ Hype, never heard of him, and another lad, a cocky young lad, Carl Cox.
That's it.
He hasn't really done much since, has he?
Nah,
I think you must have fucking beat him. So how did that come about? You're into because you're not known for being like a turntablist, whereas DJ Hype, he's known for the scratching and stuff like that, and Carl Cox, arguably one of the most well-known DJs in the world.
I mean, Carl was a big DJ anyway on that very early house scene, but he was DJing the soul music and stuff like that. He was knocking around with, I don't think I'm going to remember his name now. Chris, I can't remember. Chris, something is a really big house soul DJ. Can't think of his surname now. They used to do things like the Gold Mine in Canvey Island and all that sort of circuit, Kings in Seven Kings and stuff. So he was quite well known. But that was 19. I was chatting with Hype actually a couple of months ago, and I was saying to him, I can't remember whether I went in for it in 89 and 90 or 88 and 89, and he turned around and said no. He goes, it was definitely 88, 89 because he said the year I was in competition with him was 89, and it was the year before that I did one near South London with Carl Cox.
Yeah, and how did you get on?
I got through to the evening on both. Yeah. Out of like 30, 35 DJs, I managed to make the top 6.
Okay, now
both times, and then I didn't get anywhere in the evening.
Yeah.
But I say I didn't get anywhere. But what an experience!
I know. Yeah. Okay, now I mean, the names you're up against as well. It's not like you're dropping names that no one's heard of. DJ Hype's one of the real formidable talents in the drum and bass scene, and Carl Cox. Let's be honest.
I know them both very well anyway. We've all been on the same circuit for not so much these days, but occasionally we cross paths. But we even with Carl, we were doing lots and lots of the same gigs. We used to go around his house every now and again. Yeah, seems strange. He's a lovely fella.
Yeah, you know what? It's one of them things, and there's certain people in the industry. And certain names come up, and he's one of them. No one's really got a bad word to say about him, and that speaks volumes for itself, doesn't it?
Hype's great as well. He's known as a bit of a moaner, but, but we always have a right old laugh. He's great as well. Yeah.
Don't forget, you can catch me each and every Thursday night for my show, Absolute Old School, only on In Demand Radio, where I play you 2 hours of classics and a feast of forgotten gems, usually on the harder side of the spectrum. We kick off with the early 90s every week, and then we have the trance flashback section, followed by the spotlight section. In the past, we've featured clubs and events like Kinetic, The Drome, Good Grief, labels like Tidy Tracks, Bonsai and Shock, and artists such as Ultrasonic, Tony DeVee and Scott Brown. We always finish off nice and tough with the Go Hard or Go Home section. You can catch it on In Demand Radio Thursday nights from 11 p.m. or listen back absolutely free of charge on indemandradio.com or download the free In Demand Radio app for Apple or Android.
So back to the original point then, how did you end up on top of the pops with SL2?
Yeah, so after we did our Track the Noise and whatever, we'd been doing Rain Dance, and then I'd started DJing all around the country by then. So from off the back of Rain Dance 89, I was then, I don't know, I just got noticed, I suppose. Wasn't so many DJs around in those days, I suppose, but I had a big platform as well. And I started getting bookings in places like Colchester and then Leicester, and then just sort of dotted around Birmingham and stuff. So I was getting busier DJing, and then we did our next follow up, which was DJs Take Control, Way My Brain, which we put it out on our own label on Awesome Records. That must have been, I think that was early 91, and it just flew out, absolutely flew out. It did, like, I think we give a company called Mo's Music Machine with distributing.
I know them,
yeah. They did 250 white labels in like a half hour or something stupid like that. It just, got on the phones. It's like, yeah, Gibson. So we did another 250, and they they pretty much went as quick as well. And then that was it. The phone started ringing. So we started getting calls from record labels.
Yeah.
Even the label at Mo's Music Machine, which was Orbital Records, they were trying to buy it off us. Then we had Warp Records, then we had XL, obviously. And I think it was about 8 different labels we had at one point.
And at that point,
all sort of saying, "Can we take? We want to take this tune." And then we decided to go with XL, not for the money. They weren't the biggest. It wasn't the biggest advance by a long shot. But we just felt they were sort of closest to us.
Yeah. In
proximity as well. They were a London label, but also just with what they were doing at the time, with Prodigy and their music, it sort of, we felt that connection with them.
Yeah, I had Ian Bland from Dream Frequency on the podcast quite recently, and he said back then there was a real, a tangible, rivalry, a competitive rivalry between XL and City Beat, the North versus the South. He said he used to get pissed off when he'd see all the lads wearing the XL jackets. Where's your fucking City Beat jacket?
Because that was all part of Beggars as well, wasn't it? Which is the City Beat and XL were part of the same company.
Yeah, it was all like a sister, parent companies, But he said there was like a sibling rivalry almost.
Yeah.
Fucking XL,
like good Southerners.
Yeah. The only thing he's all had in common back then was the hair, wasn't he? They all had ponytails. I think there's only Scott Brown still got it now, isn't it?
Yeah, he's still got it, isn't he?
I think he has, yeah. He's still got a ponytail, though. Not just got hair. He's still got a ponytail, I think.
Yeah, he's lucky to have hair as well, I suppose, isn't he?
Yeah.
maybe I'd still have one. You never know.
No hair on the top and a ponytail at the back, like the comic book guy out of Simpsons.
I really would look like Status Quo then.
So at this point, when you're getting these releases out, are you starting to think this could be a future for me? I could be a musician full time.
Not even by then, really. No. I was an electrician at the time as well, actually.
Yeah.
So I did a electrical apprenticeship up until summer '91. So from summer '89, just before I'd done the rain dance. So from then, 2 years, that went really well. I did really, really well with that. And then John had gone off to Ibiza when we started getting all these phone calls about from the labels and stuff. He'd gone off to Ibiza for a month to go and DJ with another load of my mates. We were all running a private radio station together at the time. And yeah, they all shot off over there and laugh. And he left me his phone. He had the old Motorola brick phone. And I didn't have a phone at the time. And I remember he left me that to take to work because these labels were phoning up. I didn't want to miss a call.
Exciting times, though, no?
Yeah. Totally. But it was never. I can't remember at any point then thinking, this is what I'm going to be doing for the foreseeable future. It still felt like a sort of bit of a hobby and just just something that sort of happened by chance.
And when did it change then?
Probably a couple of years after that, I think. Obviously, the SL2 thing absolutely exploded. But maybe a couple of years after that, when it sort of kept going and we was earning, decent money from it, and ended up, having my own house and stuff like that. It's like, it's actually a bit of a career. Yeah,
that's what Ian Bland said. He said he went to he was recording somewhere, and I'm sure he said, don't quote me on this, but like the drummer for the Inspiral Carpets or something like that was talking to him, and he said to this guy, he said, when do you know to quit your day job and stuff like that? And this fella said, you'll just know, mate. You'll just know. And at the time, I think he said he was earning £150 a week with his wages, but he was getting £400 from gigs. He said it just kind of got to the point with
that's a bit like me. So the apprenticeship, I was earning 40 quid a week for the first year. £40 a week. And I actually used to borrow my brother's brother's a taxi driver. He owns the company now, actually. Same company, but brother's a taxi driver. And I used to nick his car a couple of times a week. Got insured on it, which even that wasn't a lot of money back then. I'd do a couple of nights a week. Cabin.
Yeah.
Even at like 18 years old, 19, whatever I was at the time, maybe 20. And then the second year I was getting 80 quid a week. It doubled. I was like getting 80 quid a week. And at that point, when we signed with XL, my apprenticeship had come to the end. And same thing, you know, I was going out and going up to wherever, Leicester or somewhere, you know, and getting a couple hundred quid for an hour's DJing, or sometimes more, you know, go further north and, you know, I might get 300 quid. Was there ever a time when it was like a bit of a... Yeah, so I was going to say, so I left, and unfortunately for my governor, who was a good mate as well, I finished the apprenticeship, and then went, sorry, but I've got to go. So that's when I finished officially working, was summer 91. Yeah. And it's just been DJing and stuff ever since. Was there ever a point where you were in a situation where, obviously, with SL2, and like I say, you know, for our generation, Top of the Pops was like the fucking be all and end all, wasn't it? You know, if you're on Top of the Pops, you were proper famous. It was no two ways about it. Was there ever a point where you thought that the pop star side of things might go in a direction and leave the DJing behind, or was it always going to be both? Nah, it's always going to be both, or probably more the DJing side of things. Yeah, the DJing's what's in heart. Certainly not pop star. Not even musician, producer maybe. Yeah, maybe producer. He's always going to be in there, but certainly not pop star. Nah. Yeah. Nah. I mean, that just wasn't our thing. And in fact, it showed, because, you know, we did the Top of the Pops thing. You know, as a kid, it'd be like Thursday night, was it 7:30 every Thursday, and you know, you'd be there with your cup of tea, couple of biscuits, watching the music, and the 10p mix. Yeah. And then to be on it was just like absolutely shocking for us. It was like, wow, it's like, how the fuck did that happen? Yeah. And we did it three times in here. Yeah. We did it in end of 91, and then twice with Raggatip. But then as we got to the end of 92, the whole rave thing had sort of burnt itself out. It went either really commercial or really dark, and sort of into the dark side. And there's either sort of the dark side or then the jungle sort of thing, which was a real different vibe as well. Yeah. Or really commercial. And we probably had a prime opportunity to then move over to that commercial side and try and make some music, you know, for the broader spectrum, for the bigger audience. Yeah. And we just didn't do it. It was just like, no, John really weren't up for it either. Yeah. It's not that we just didn't feel we had it in us, really. So there was no point in sort of really trying hard to create something that we weren't feeling. Yeah. You know, so. And I imagine at this point, your DJing's really picking up, you know, on quite a scale. Like, we was everywhere. I was all over the, you know, flying abroad and stuff like that. We were so busy, making decent money, and not huge amounts, but decent money. And then we just went back underground. Really, we started another name called THC, which did a track called Sunshine. We actually gave that to XL, but they weren't really interested, and we totally got that because it was just really heavy breakbeat. Yeah. You know, so when did the SMD side of things come into it? So that was sort of off the back of the big change that went on end of 92. So, as I said, things either went sort of towards the jungle side of things or the dark side of things, which was sort of ravey but just very sort of gloomy, and you know, and I was playing both, loving both as well, still making both, you know, in my music, but there was still there's sort of a gap appeared really for tracks like Edge One, Compounded, and that sort of sound. It's like there's nothing new coming out like that. And I was like happy breakbeats. Yeah, I was like, right, I ain't having it. I'm not having it. So I thought, right, what can I do? And I thought, right, the Congress piano or Better Days, whatever, you know, the original. But I thought, right, I'm going to get that. Put a fucking big beat behind, big 4/4 behind it, and still use some break beats, but chop them all up. And that's what I did with SMD1, and it great big loud riff sound, which is actually from, I don't know if Stephen at knows, but I actually nicked that sound from Awesome 3, from the sound of Awesome 3, and stretched it out, so it sounds very different from that. Yeah. And I just got the mix down as loud as I possibly could, and then just had it as a dub plate, hence the name SMD, Slipmatt Stubs.
Slipmatt Stubs, yeah.
I thought, right, that's for me to play. So I can't find any other new music that's, in that style. So that was sort of the start of my sort of happy hardcore journey.
Yeah.
And that dub plate just went down so well everywhere.
So
I sort of knew I was on to a winner, and then everyone was like, Matt, come on, fuck's sake, you got to press it up, you got to put it out there. So which I did.
They must have done quite good numbers then, because I had some of them on vinyl back in the day myself.
They did a good 10,000 each.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're probably worth a few quid now as well if I've got the originals.
Yeah, I think I've run out actually. I've got loads of records on that around here, but you can see some behind. But I gradually I could probably find a few in boxes, but I gradually sort of weeded out all these spare copies and so on. I think the last ones, which was years ago, went for about 30 or 40 quid. But
Jesus.
But I've actually got some. I did a re-release, like an album, which sold out pretty quickly. Just looking over there, I've got about 8 white label copies. It's like a triple album.
Yeah.
Maybe I should put them on sale or give them
away.
Yeah,
get them on eBay.
Maybe charity or something.
So where did the title, The Godfather of Rave or The Godfather of Happy Hardcore, come from? Do you remember the first time that was bestowed upon you?
1994. That was Dream Magazine. I was up at the United Dance Office, which was over in Chelmsford, with Chris Brown and co. We was having a bit of a meeting or something over there, or doing some music, and Dream Magazine came down to do an interview. So I did this interview with them, and then they said, "Oh, right, look, we've got to take a photo." We went out, popped outside, just I can't even remember the photo that well now, actually, but I stood against the garage door or a wall or something like that. Just sort of stood there like that and took a photo. There's no creativity at all. But I had my dark glasses on, and then they just come up with a caption, "The Godfather."
And it stuck.
That was it. It stuck. Yeah, that's simple.
So over the years, you've gone into different directions. You've played tech house, you've made tech house, you've obviously you're playing more house music now. At what point did you start to diversify? Because obviously the rave scene, the happy hardcore scene, kind of got quite. So towards the end of the 90s, it started going in different directions again. Then it started to splinter off, and you got more the Dutch sound, like the Paul Elstacky stuff. And obviously then you've got the likes of Sharky and Energy bringing this transcore, Billy Daniel Bunter, transcore and freeform. So it's kind of splintered off into those different sections. Is that when you started to try and diversify a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I sort of have all the way through, really. And I've been saying to people recently, saying my journey with dance music, with sort of rave, started with house in 1986, buying house music. The first tunes were like Jack Your Body, It's Okay, Fairly Jackmaster Funk, and all the tracks stuff. And then 87, 88, the acid house stuff and that. But my hardcore journey was only really from sort of 90 was bass and bleeps. So only really from sort of early 91 through to end of 92. So there's a couple of years window with the what we would call sort of old school hardcore, the main sort of chunk of it. And then from 93 to sort of 96, 97 with the happy hardcore sort of sound. And then by 97, I wasn't really buying anything new. It was just, I sort of probably naturally wanted to move on a bit, I think.
Yeah.
I just wasn't into a lot of the new sounds for whatever reason. I can't even remember really. And then that changed towards the end of the 90s. I think around 99, you had people like Dougal and Gamma and and Scott Brown and stuff, bringing that trance sound into hardcore, and the whole sound of it sort of changed and big modernized, really, become a lot, went with the times. And that just wasn't me. But from '95, my brother again opened up the aquarium in London, which was a house club. So I started playing there, sneaking in there and playing a few sort of house sets now and again. And then the Ibiza thing started sort of 96, 97, which I was going over and playing old school, but at the same time mixing it in with the latest house stuff. So my point is my window of playing hardcore, and that is the main bit was mainly doing that, and drum and bass and jungle as well. It was only really 91 to sort of 96, 97.
Yeah.
So that's only sort of 5-6 years.
Yeah.
So 5-6 years out of a 30, nearly 34 year DJ career, which I've played house all the way through that.
Yeah.
And so it's just what I was recognised for the most, you know. And still, everywhere I go, oh, you're playing old school tonight. I'm putting some happy hardcore, or you know, I'll play Breaking Free, bit of jungle. But so I've gone back to playing all the new music I play now is pretty much house, tech house. That's that sort of sound.
So you mentioned Ibiza.
I'll always play old school. Always.
Yeah. You mentioned Ibiza there. So how does Slip Back in Time come about?
God, blimey. So we started. I was doing parties over there, well, right away from the 90s, but around the early 2000s, around 2000, started doing residencies and stuff. And I was sort of calling it Slip Back in Time. So that's the name sort of came about from then. But then I've done, since then, I've done tons of parties and actually got, actually branded it as Slip Back in Time. We've done quite a bit of stuff in the UK, just nothing too serious. I never really wanted to be a club promoter, or anything like that. Not at all. So nothing too serious, but just on a little side thing, let's do our own party, team up with a mate or whatever. We've done a few bits in Ibiza as well. We did a party at the zoo once, Benamusa. We used to do bits at Summum. I think we took it to Mallorca, to some of the Greek islands as well.
Wow.
Done a few London gigs. We did a big one down in Bournemouth at the Opera House. We had 1,200 people there.
Wow.
A few years ago now. So there's been a few bits. We sort of sneaked them in over the years. And then someone approached me in 2013 in Ibiza while I was there. I can actually remember the meeting. It's an old DJ friend of mine. I said, I've got a mate who wants to do like an old school sort of rave holiday sort of thing over here. And I remember at the time thinking, I don't know whether that's going to work. That's a bit ambitious. But I had a meeting with him. Flew back over and had a meeting that winter at the end of 2013. And basically was asking me to come in and help out with the DJs and sort of hook them up with everyone and be a contact sort of thing. And then they went for it in 2014, yeah.
So I've got a couple of fan questions here, and one of them just looking at it now. So Johnny Piers.
Hold on. So that wasn't just, I've got to get this in. That wasn't Slip Back in Time. That was a thing called Strictly Old School, which I did actually help them out with, and then that absolutely I wasn't part of it. I was just sort of helping them really, but that absolutely crumbled.
Really?
A few years later. And at that point, I was sort of getting more and more involved in them, and it just split. Totally split. So I thought, well, the only thing I can do
my own
is to do it, Slip Back in Time.
Yeah. So Johnny Piers said, "What's your favourite memory of Slip Back in Time, and what makes it so special?"
But in Ibiza,
yeah, I assume that's what he means. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like every day's a good day out there. There's tons of it. I mean, it's so good. The thing that makes it so special is everybody is so friendly. It's just we all stay in the same hotel complex, which is really, really nice. So a lot of these other holidays you sort of spread out and stuff, which is fine. But we're all there together, and it's sort of become we're 4 years in now, and it's sort of become a bit of a family thing.
A community.
I think a lot of these parties that are doing this sort of stuff now. It is becoming like that. It's all us sort of 90s, old sort of 90s flavors. We sort of get it, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just such a lovely group of people. We get lots of new people. We've had lots of new people every year as well.
Yeah.
And it's just lots of people come on their own as well, which is really cool.
Fantastic. Steve Baker said, if there was an event or an era you could revisit, what would it be?
It's got to be some point in the 90s. 100%. I think.
What was your favourite era of the 90s?
Well, no, actually, I think I would probably. I think I'd like to revisit '89. I think when it all sort of really first started. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've never really been that much of a raver, to be honest with you. You know, I've had my moments, but I've always been the other side. I've always been behind the decks.
Yeah.
Or behind the the workings of it all.
Yeah. So
to actually go back to '89 and
experience it through different eyes.
Go, right, I'm going to go to fucking everything. You know, that would be really cool.
Okay. So Lee Allen wants to know, how do you feel about the digital revolution in terms of DJing?
Yeah, I've totally embraced it. Totally.
You've got to, haven't you?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. In 2003, I remember being in I remember playing in S Paradise, and they had they'd got these CDJs in there. It might have been the year before, actually. They're the 1000s, which were like the best ones at the time.
Yeah.
And then by 2003, I pretty much edited my whole sort of old school set, not like every single tune, but everything that I would want to play, and put it onto CD.
Yeah.
So it just goes back to when I was growing up, to wanting to splice tape and this, that, and the other. It was just like, oh wow, you know, these records that I played, the ones that are really quiet, I can make louder.
Yeah.
And the ones that are too long, you think, oh, can I play that? It's a bit too long. Just make them, like, cut them in half.
Yeah.
And it just opened up a whole new world for me. So yeah, I'm totally USB, record box, digital.
It just eliminates all the non-value added time. I mean, I was trying to explain to someone in work the other week. I said, if you look at DJing, the whole principle of DJing is getting two tracks which are predominantly different speeds and making them the same speed to mix them in. So when you're a DJ and you put the vinyl on and you're doing all that and you cue it up and you're playing it and you're adjusting the pitch, that's all non-value added time. You can do that with a button now. And then that opens up your creativity to do what you want to do.
You try selling half of Facebook that.
Yeah. But this is what makes me laugh with the digital thing. These same people who snarl at sync buttons and CDJs, they've got washing machines and microwaves and mobile phones. Like, they embrace some technology, but others is frowned upon. Don't get it.
Yeah, it's absolute madness. Yeah, and a lot of people don't really get the sync thing. I use sync for a few moves that I do, and that. I mean, you know, if you're going to bring something in on a cue button and you're not synced, if you get that tiny little bit out, and you've got 5,000 people in front of you, it's not easy to get it like absolutely bang on. So
why wouldn't you use it?
So just flick the sync button on, and then go bang, and you know that it's going to be perfect. But then the other thing is, I never actually had the sync button on all the time when I'm playing. I only put it on when I really need it, if I'm going to do a certain move or whatever, because I've found it can actually mess you up. It's been left on by the DJ before or something, and you got to do something. It's like, oh no.
Yeah.
It works both ways. Everything's there for a reason, and it's, you know, and also, you know, don't think of this game as a competition. It's really not.
Doesn't matter how well the tracks mix. If the shit tracks, it's not going to sound fucking good. No. It's all about picking the right music at the right time. Doesn't matter how in time it is.
You can do so much more with it, though. You know, even with, like I'm saying, you don't need the sync button on on the modern stuff anyway. Just keep it in quantize. So once you got the tracks together, if your tracks are gridded, just keep it on quantize. And the stuff you can do is just, my sets would be very, very different, I think, without modern technology. Not without sync, but without modern technology.
The second part of Lee's question, who was the biggest wreckhead or party animal back in the day?
Brandon Block.
Really? Yeah.
He was one of them. Yeah, he's a very good friend of mine, actually, Brandon.
Yeah.
We've become quite close over the years. Yeah, he's a lovely fellow as well, and he's not a record anymore.
Yeah.
Very
I
wise.
think a
man.
lot of people are. Well, most of them aren't.
Yeah.
You get older and a bit wiser.
Yeah, there's been a few. I've had my moments.
So, but on that point, there was a
Yeah,
time when you got took off the stage at Space. I heard a little story recently. Do you want to tell our listeners about that one?
I think I actually managed to get through the set. Someone was giving me, it was someone I know, were giving me shots, and they were putting something, I won't say what it was, in each shot, and I'd done loads of them. And then I remember halfway, I'd sort of blanked out, but I remember it must have been halfway through the set, sort of looking down. This is on the Space Terrace. I'm playing tunes, looking down, and then people going, look. It's obviously my mates, but I fully like my jaws fully going bang. But I think I'm sure I actually made it through the set, but then I got caught. I think I got caught in a flower bed or something and nearly kicked out by security, and then someone saved me. But I've had a lot of messy moments, but it's only very, very recreational for me.
Yeah,
I don't touch any stuff like that anymore.
Yeah. So how did your radio career kick off? Because you've been on radio for quite some time now. How did that start and how's it going?
Yeah, I mean, I did loads of interviews and stuff. I did a few shows on Kiss in London back in '94. I think that would have started. I did a couple of jungle shows, actually, a few, 3 or 4 jungle shows. And then we did a hardcore show, which I think started around 95, 96, there was like a circle of us that were doing it. Me, Hicksy, Vibes, Dougal, Charlie B used to get involved. I think Sharky maybe even. And then just bits and pieces, just sort of guest mixes and stuff. Yeah. I never really wanted to hold myself down too much just because of DJing commitments and being away and stuff. It was just like, I enjoy radio, but then I started my podcast in 2013, World of Rave.
Yeah.
And that was going out live as well originally. I stopped doing that live after a few years. So that's still going. That's like 10 years in.
Yeah.
I started my Slips House show, which is all brand new music. That's a podcast as well. I started that on my 50th birthday in 2017. So that shows you how old I am. Actually started on my birthday. I thought, well, I'm going to do it on my birthday. So and then when just before this lockdown nonsense started, I started doing it started off as I think it was a monthly Wednesday with Centreforce. And I think it was me, Tall Paul, Seb Fontaine, and someone else. Can't remember who else it was. We were going to do like a once a month each. I think that ended up. Yeah, no, I think it was that, and then the lockdown thing happened. I think the other DJs sort of didn't really want to do it anymore, or they were doing other stuff. And Danny at Centreforce just said, "Oh, look, Matt, while we're not out and about, do you want to do every week?" So I was like, might as well, yeah. Why not? Fuck, what else to do?
There's only so many fucking pans you can bang outside the house, isn't there?
So so I was like, look, come on, let's go for it. And I've just carried on, carried on doing it now, and it's gone from strength to strength. I can't believe how many plays we're getting on Mixcloud now. I think it's the most listened to replay.
Fucking hell.
On the station, I think, at the moment. Yeah, by a long way. Yeah, it's mad. It's actually in fact, the last few weeks, it's actually overtaken my podcast on Mixcloud, which is quite mad, yeah.
So the Slips House thing, do you find that quite refreshing now? Because obviously you're known as being an old school DJ, and I know there's a DJ from Liverpool called DJ Tricks, and he's quite openly said he doesn't particularly like playing the same stuff all the fucking time. When it gets a bit monotonous. So for doing Slips House, that must be quite refreshing for you.
Totally, absolutely, yeah. So I took around. I've got these years in my head. So around 2011, I got a controller, and I ended up with a new laptop. I ended up putting like tons and tons of tons more old school onto the laptop, and then sort of really digging deep. So I sort of went through another big sort of adventure into the old sound and mastering loads and loads more tunes. And then after a few years, it got to the point where it's like, just all I'm doing is just playing old music again. It sort of started not get boring, but a bit monotonous. Hence 2017, I was like, right, I've got to do something about this. Yeah. And then just started that podcast every other week or whatever, just with just all new music, and it's definitely the way to go.
Yeah.
And once you really get into it, you start to love it more.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be without the new stuff now.
Yeah. So if anyone who's watching this podcast or listens to this podcast who doesn't follow Slipmatt on Facebook or Instagram or any of them, you are missing a trick, because you are, without a doubt, one of the most positive people I've ever known. Some of your quotes and memes on a daily basis, if you really are missing out. So how does all this
I'm relentless, and I'm absolutely relentless with it as well.
It's brilliant. Every day I have got little quotes and I look and I think, fucking loads and loads of them. I just think, fucking that's brilliant. That, and I'll screenshot it and send it to my missus and stuff like that. So I don't know. You've always been quite a positive person.
I think I have, actually. Yeah. I've always been a friendly old chap, and that. But yeah, very positive. I did a lot of personal development stuff back in from about. Always been interested in sort of positive stuff and just that mindset, But around 2013, I gave up smoking, actually, and I did a smoking the Alan Carr audio book. Managed to give up smoking for a while, but at the same time, listening to that audio book was that's really good, actually. I could, I wonder if I could. And anyway, so I managed to get another couple of audio books, but I found myself listening to all sort of self-help stuff and personal development stuff.
It's really good. You're always getting something from it.
Yeah, and then lots of classics, Earl Nightingale and Bob Proctor and all these people, Brian Tracy with time management stuff and all that. And then, but the other thing was, I've been driving up and down the motorways for decades, listening to reggae and music and old school and just, a lot of the same old stuff. All of a sudden, I started listening to audiobooks, and I just felt like my life was changing. It was like, hold on a minute, listening to all this information, like it's really helpful information, and it really sort of changed my mindset loads. Ended up doing a few business courses off the back of it and stuff, and it just sort of changed everything. So,
have you listened to the Jimmy Carr one?
Jimmy Carr,
the comedian's got one called Before and Laughter.
Oh, right.
And it's semi-autobiographical, but it's very, very much a self-help book. Yeah. And there's some fantastic stuff in there. There really is. That's definitely worth a read or a listen.
Not a massive fan of him, but yeah. I mean, there's so much stuff, and God knows how many books I've listened to and podcasts and stuff over the years. But whenever I'm out on my own in the car, it's always a book. The book goes on, unless I have to listen to a bit of music. Yeah. It's always a book or something. Yeah, and do you know what? It's not. I really hope people don't think I'm sort of trying to put it on them. It's just like an idea for the day. So I normally put a quote out every morning, but it's not saying like do this, do that. It's just like an idea to put out there. Not even all of them are absolutely spot on. Certainly not spot on for everybody. But it's just like a thought for the day sort of thing.
Yeah. They are definitely thought provoking. Like I say, I've listened to a lot of self-help audio books and read some books myself, and some of it can be a little bit wind chimey. And if you've got cancer, just think it away. Positive. I get some of it is a little bit silly, but everyone I've either read or listened to, I've got something from it every single time.
Yeah, and there's always someone that will come on and say, "Oh, I really needed that today," or let's catch some. If it catches one person and makes their day better.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
Right, Matt, we're going to finish off now with some quick fire questions. I will take your first answer and your first answer only. Tea or coffee?
Tea.
Most expensive luxury you've treated yourself to?
The car.
The Lost Boys or Blade?
Don't know now.
The films.
Oh, right. I don't watch telly. I don't watch TV.
What's your worst habit?
Oh my God. Worst habit. I would have said smoking.
You don't do that anymore.
Oh, no, I've read so many books. I haven't got any bad habits now. Probably working too much.
What annoys you?
People make the noise when they eat. Yeah.
Do you remember where you were on the turn of the millennium?
I've got a few memories of it. Yep.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Jam, custard, or ring donut?
Have to be jam.
If you had a time machine, what year would you visit and why? I think you answered that before.
I think we said 1989. Yeah, just to go and see what it's like again.
On chips, curry or gravy?
Curry.
What scares you?
What scares me? Getting old, I think.
News flash, it's going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
One thing you would rid from the world?
Hate.
Who's your favourite MC when you're DJing?
Charlie B.
Alive or dead, who would you go and watch in concert?
Got to be a quick one, isn't it? Bob Marley.
Spitting Image or the Young Ones?
The young ones.
And the final question, what's the best podcast you've been on today?
It's got to be this one.
Got to be this one, hasn't it?
I reckon so.
Right, Matt, thank you so much for doing this. What have you got coming up then? This is probably going to go out in December. I'm probably going to put this out around Christmas time. So what can we expect from you?
Yeah, so I mean, gig-wise, there's tons. I've got tons coming up. It's actually been flat out for so long. It's actually really, really good. But I've got loads coming in for next year as well. Lots of festivals coming in and stuff. Right the way through the summer so far. So that's all good. Obviously, my own event, Slip Back in Time, is coming up in May. So I've got a lot of work to do behind the scenes with that and with our team and stuff as well. That's 15th to 22nd of May in Ibiza. The best thing, I'm going to do my salesman bit now, but the best thing I think the real selling point for our event, I've obviously already spoken about it, how friendly it is and lovely, and it's old school, but it's little bits of new music as well, quite sort of housey. But we're all inclusive. We're all in the same hotel complex, and it's all inclusive. So if you're paying, for example, £700 for the week, that gets you free drinks from 10 in the morning till 11 o'clock at night, all day, alcohol as well, and the drinks are nice. It's not old crap. 3 meals at the hotel, 3 restaurant meals or hot meals in the hotel restaurant, snacks all day. That's right up until 11 o'clock at night, and then you get in the clubs for free. Obviously, anywhere we go is all for free. So all you need to spend is a couple of quid on your drinks in the evening, and that's
Fantastic.
it. And if you tanked yourself up until 11 o'clock at night, anyway,
you don't need any.
So my point is, a lot of people think, Ibiza, it's too expensive, it's a rip-off. It's actually probably one of the best value for money rave holidays you can get. If you like saying, if you think if it's $700, it's £100 a day. That's your hotel, everything you can eat and drink, and your night out, minus a couple of G&Ts or whatever.
Yeah. And can you confirm any of the artists who are lined up for next year?
Oh yeah, we've got loads. Brandon's coming. Brandon, Alex P, K Class, Shades of Rhythm, yourself. Yeah, it's Rob Tessera.
He's just brought a book out, hasn't he?
Boo Bar's coming. Yeah, he has actually.
I've actually just ordered that. I got my email last night asking me what my name was to put in the back. Loads.
Mark Archer, Mark Ecstasy, LSD. Just all your favourites will be there.
All the old school legends.
Chalky White.
Chalky
White's another favourite MC.
Yeah.
Don't want to leave him out.
Right, Matt, thank you so much for doing this, guys. As I always say at the end of every episode, I don't know who or what's coming next. I've got a pretty good idea, but I can't release it anyway. Anyway, thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. You can follow DJ Slipmatt at the bottom there. All his information will be at the bottom. Don't forget, all the videos you watch of mine, please do like, share, and subscribe. It really, really helps. Thank you very much to Matt, and thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care, guys.